Hello, welcome to today's episode. Today is an episode about a celebration of life. It's not about stirring up emotional feelings, it is about death, and I'm going to take you back to the start. The story here has to start with my grandfather's house here in Laoise Con, Ballybunion. Back 60, 70, 80 years ago, there was families that were born here. My family, Dominic's family, the children would be in and out of each other's houses. It was one big community of love. The funny thing is, I started coming back here around April and I met Dominic and we became good friends, and a tragedy hit me. My best friend and one of my good friends passed away in America. That morning I received the news of my two friends in America. I had to get back to Dublin straight away. I had no car with me. I had come down with a train and I'd called a few people. I called a taxi man. We said we'd give as much money as he wanted. He refused. Another guy we asked, he refused. Then my sister said, we'll ring Alex. Alex was Dominic's brother, his best friend. Alex didn't even answer. He said, where is anybody that's had a tragedy in their life or a shock? They are not in a good place in that moment. That morning, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't stand. Alex came like an angel. Alex was here within 5 minutes. We got in the car and he brought me halfway to Tipperary, to Obama. The whole being is, Alex was with me on my journey in my lowest part of my life. The hardest, most difficult thing I've ever done was that morning, and Alex was with me all the way. 3 months later, Alex sadly passed away in his bed. And today, we're going to visit Alex's grave and maybe one or two spots around the town. A celebration of life, and Dominic's best friend, his brother, Alex Kwan, join us today. I wanted to make a quick stop here on this very important road. This would be the Dune Road, the school road. Now you must remember, my family had a family of 13 daughters and sons. Dominic's family had 9. And every morning, rain, sunshine, snow, they would make this long walk 3 miles to and from secondary school. It's very important, as most child relationships can be made on the walk to and from school. The crack, the bit of garden, it all happens to and from school. So I think it's very important to stop and show the road that they took each and every morning. And wow, what a beautiful scenery they had grown up here in Ballybunion. I'm sure this road, it could speak, it could tell many stories of great times and the laughs the kids had going to school. We're here at a famous landmark, JDs Bar. Now every Easter, my best friend that passed away and all my good friends, we would make a tradition. We come down here and this would be our watering hole. We had some amount of crack here. I even had a few rough and tumbles outside JD's nightclub. My friend loved it here and it was one of the favourite parts of Ballybunion every year we came. Dominic, this place has been here many years. You have a couple of stories yourself as a teenager and young adolescent.
Alex, you said the story about the flat and himself coming down here to JD's, I suppose 45 years ago. And Michael Anthony was a very quiet little fella, one of the quietest one of them. And they were all put outside the door, and Sean GD came out afterwards and they were saying, he was saying to Michael Anthony was saying, we'll go back in again, Sean. There's no point in coming in back in again. So Sean, he said, but I'll be putting you out again. So that was the story of what Alex just have to say about the night out in JD's with the flat.
And they used to come here all the time for a drink, would they?
When they all went to England in, and they'd all be back here Christmas and during the summer for a couple of weeks. But Alex came home then, he got a job with the Kerry group, and he stayed at home then. The flatters went back to England, they were down to Dublin and they were. Good
times all around at JD's, Dominic.
Good times at JD's. There was an evening that when they was coming home from England, sure they'd be down on the bumpers when I was a child. So I remember that well.
So not only was the flatties getting barred in the 70s and 80s, they were also getting barred in the 90s.
In the 90s, presumably as well.
And the noughties.
But at the same time, they were very well liked people as well. Like, so.
Wow. Come on, we head on then. We'll visit the grave. So here we are today. It's 5 weeks since Alex passed away. Your best friend, your brother. Dominic, how are you feeling in these days?
Well, these days you'll never get over it because it was so sudden. It's very hard to accept it, like Paul. But like this story now, he's not alone because my lovely sister is there on the left of him and Alex here on the right. So he's not alone today, I suppose. But it's just a terrible shock we got when I heard the news that my brother was after being found below in the house.
He was 68 years of age,
years, Paul, yeah.
And he was full of life, Alex.
Full of life,
right up into the day he passed away.
I couldn't believe that it was such a shock to every one of us, that he all flying around in the car and in and out and up and down, and all of a sudden ding bang. So
one thing we must say about Alex, and especially with helping me and my friend, is he would do anything for anyone. He was a saint among the community of Ballybunion.
He was very well liked in, like, down top of everything else, like. He like that story now, he carried you to the Barack Obama Plaza above in Tipperary, and he offered you even to go up to Dublin with.
He offered to bring me all the way, and we had to argue with him not to bring me all the way to Dublin. He said it was no issue. And he's helped many people around Ballybunion.
But that's the way he lived his life to the full, I presume. And I suppose, thanks be to God, he didn't end up in a wheelchair or anything, because he was grossly overweight, alright. Like, we were always worried about his weight in case he might get a stroke or something.
Yeah, he did enjoy his food, and that's one thing we cannot give out about, because who doesn't enjoy a bit of food?
Who doesn't enjoy the food, Paul? Yeah.
But the one thing about Alex is he had some passions. He played the fiddle.
Well, he played the fiddle. He had no interest in sport much, but he liked the music, alright. He liked the music. He had a fierce variety of music. He liked all types of music, like, especially the ballads. And when he was a teenager, he was going around singing Gilbert O'Sullivan songs and all the ABBA. He saw ABBA in concert years ago, so he was very interested in music, like. He had much interest in sport, and he played a bit of the fiddle, like.
Yeah, and he used to play in the local pubs around the town, or the Jesse James.
Jesse James, he used to go over there, but he didn't play much in Ballybunion. He was the big crowds would frighten him away.
He wasn't fond of the big crowds then.
He wasn't fond of the Dubliners, and I liked him. No, he wouldn't, in case the Dubliners, he might show on television or something.
And he also got to see our YouTube channel before he passed away. Great. And although he had reservations, you could tell that he was quite impressed with how we got on.
How we got on, yes, and the age group we were now.
So we're delighted he's seeing that, and not only that, is we're going to carry his memory on through YouTube and through conversation, and Alex Kwan, he'll never die.
With the help of God, his memory will live on, Paul.
Today is, I'd love to say, a celebration of life, but with me and Dominic, the death is still recent, and it was a coincidence that my best friend passed away, and then Dominic's best friend passed away 3 months after. So we're kind of living through this ourselves. But the problem with Irish society is I don't think we talk enough about death, and when it happens to us, it's such a shock that most of us aren't able for it. So I think talking about death is going to be a new thing, and we really need to talk about it, because at the moment everyone walks around, and when it happens we are not prepared. I myself, I'm still struggling to come to terms with what's after happening to me, my close friends, his family. Every night I think about his family and how hard this is to move on. We'll never move on. I'm trying to find some happiness back in my life, and we're looking for answers as to why this happened. But the truth is, there is no answers, and it's just a terrible tragedy. But we're glad we're after doing this piece on Alex today. Such a wonderful man. That day he brought me to Tipperary will live with me forever. He actually gave me a story on the way to Tipperary. He was telling me about, in the golf club there was some family party going on, and Alex says around the time the film The General was out, the General used to go around with his hand over his face, and that was what the General did. But he said, I was going around doing the general, sticking people up, and he said, Alex said it was the funniest thing he's ever seen. He'll always remember me being the jokester, the dub, sticking people up in the golf hotel. So it was quite poignant. So all I want to say is, Alex and Luke, Kane even, they would have met when they arrived at the doors, and I'm sure Luke would have thanked Alex for looking after me that day in my darkest hour. We want to say we love everyone we lost this year, but we're going to keep fighting and try grow from this. I also lost my godfather this year as well, a great lover of hunting dogs and a force to be reckoned with. So to everyone that's passed away this year, we pray for you, and we'll see you soon, but not yet, not yet.